the fact that you have to list those out for somebody and try to convince them that to love you, that means they're not the one.
Yeah, if you ever
shouldn't have to work that hard.
If you ever have to make a PowerPoint presentation as to why you should date me, it's not gonna work out. I'm sorry.
Hi, Rogue.
Hey, Zaxers.
Hi, Carina.
Hi, Zax. Hi, Rogue.
Hey, Carina.
So, we're at the halfway point, and...
Almost done.
We've been talking about, like I said, since the beginning of Deep Dish, we've been talking about how inevitable this rant was. But, like, now we're in Twilight Month, and, like, Eclipse has gotta be the worst, right? Like,
at least the first two were entertaining in how bad and toxic everything was. This one was just boring.
It's so boring. Nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
It's definitely weird because, like I said before we started recording, it definitely feels like we just loitered a lot in this movie. That's the only way I could describe it. We kind of meander around
there was
different
definitely
locations.
A lot of the Cullens, like, posing, I feel like.
Yeah, there's this point where they're talking and they're all just posing in a circle.
They do that every time the Cullens are in a group. They're all posing, and I know it's supposed to be like, oh, they're so beautiful, but they don't stand like
act normal, please.
Yeah.
How are we supposed to believe?
Vogue.
How are we supposed to believe that they've been existing within human society for decades and nobody's been like, they're little weird guys? They kind of just stand there and pose.
Okay, so we have talking points about this, but if you watched our first two, you basically know what happens here because they're all the same. So
they're
here's
all the same movie, just a little bit different.
There's no progress in the plot.
Here's what you missed on Eclipse. Edward and Bella, super codependent. Literally everybody in their life is like, hey, maybe take a step back. Maybe hang out with other friends. Develop a positive, healthy separation. No, I'm not going to do that because without them I can't live and function. Okay, take a step back. Jeez, all right. Then Jacob is like, I love you, Bella, and I know you love me. I don't. It's going to be Edward every time. Okay, Bella, but I know you love me anyway. All right. Then insert at the very last leg of the movie some problem, but it's not really a problem because the Cullens and now the werewolves a little bit are gonna just kill him, and it takes like 5 seconds and it's like, what did we do here? Oh, we got to see Bella cozied up sandwiched between two hot boys in a tent all night while they talked and established more chemistry than anybody else in the whole movie ever did.
And then the movie ends. All right, everybody, thank you for watching. Join our Discord server and be nice to each other because we all need friends.
Okay, bye.
All right, 6-minute video. Great job, everyone.
The shortest deep dish known to man.
Yay, we did it.
Well, hold that thought. Okay. I know everyone was like leaving the classroom, but please, the bell hasn't rung yet.
Yeah. The bell doesn't dismiss you. I dismiss you.
All right.
What about our homework?
Karina! Oh my gosh!
I stayed up all night doing it, and I want to get that extra mark. I'm trying to go to Western.
Okay.
Western's a good school. It's fine.
So let's get some things out of the way. So the big fish to fry, Victoria. Remember Victoria?
No.
She's still salty that we killed James' first movie, so she accomplished absolutely nothing in the second movie.
Because she wasn't there.
Literally nothing. Now this movie, she's establishing an army of newborns, and she needs an army to get to Bella.
Yeah.
Like, lady.
Why? She's really committed to getting Bella.
Such a waste of time.
You need to figure out, okay, what is the Cullens' hunting schedule? They don't bring Bella along. You know what you do? Zip, zap, zoop, drink some blood and you leave. That's what you do, Victoria. If that's the... You don't need an army, you weirdo.
Bella goes 2 places. School and wherever Edward is.
And that scene where she's in her bedroom with her friend.
Yeah.
Her other friend that's not a Colin.
Yeah. What's his name? Gerald?
Jafar.
Julian.
Geraldo.
Oh
okay, so, Carina, you brought up a good point about this whole New Bloods thing. Why does Victoria want an army of New Bloods as opposed to just a bunch of vamp friends?
Apparently, in Stephenie Meyer's vampire universe, newborns, so like brand new fresh vampires, are the most strong out of all the vampires because their human blood still lingers in their tissues. To which I say, what?
Which they didn't even have to explain that, because earlier on in the movie, Jasper was like, newborns are wild and uncontrollable. That's all they had to say. Okay, I believe you. And then they went on several scenes later to be like, it's because they still have some human blood in them. Why? Why was that necessary? That made it worse.
That makes no sense, because if they still had a bunch of human blood in them, then they wouldn't have as many cool vampire powers. In no other vampire media will you ever find anything like that, because I've referenced this so many times this month. Vampire the Masquerade. If you're a thin blood, or a newborn in this case, you're brand new, and like you get diddly squat. You have no fun powers. You're really susceptible to like getting in trouble. You're super vulnerable, and you're hungry all the time. And that's really deliberating when you're trying to keep it cool and like keep everything on the lowdown. So why Stephenie Meyer is like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna turn down, flip it, and reverse it. Brand new vampires are super cool and amazing. Why? They haven't even learned what their cool vampire power is yet.
You could say like they kind of did this, but just that one little line ruined it. That they are super thirsty and they're wild and they just got turned. They don't know what's going on,
and
so they're
want to feed.
Uncontrollable, and that's why they're so dangerous, because they're just driven by blood.
Yeah.
But then I feel like they had to change that, though, because it's like, if they are so uncontrollable, how do you get them in an army? It seems like you're just plaguing a human town with some leeches.
I mean, that kind of happened.
Yeah. I guess the other thing with this, I really feel like it's a case of Stephenie Meyer's like, we gotta hit that like 497 page count, even though we already are using 18
I gotta hand this in,
font.
and my essay says that it's 2,000 words minimum. So let me just add the word count.
Because like, it's a weird. I mean, the fact that like, okay, here's something I don't even think we talked about at all with New Moon. I asked my roomie a poll, like, so what do you think about the werewolves? They look like they're there. And she said, enough.
Enough of the werewolves.
So, I guess, I don't really experience Uncanny Valley at all. I don't know if you guys do.
I do.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
So.
I hate it.
Did you get that with, New Moon and Eclipse then?
I just like, I look at the werewolves and I'm like, this looks okay. I mean, like, not good.
You also have to remember the CGI technology is over 10 years old.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, 10 years would be Eclipse, right? That came out in 2010.
Yeah.
So, they looked better than in Twilight, I guess. Was that the first place we saw them? Whatever the first one was that we saw the werewolves.
Yeah.
They looked better.
So, Bella is like, this has been basically since the end of the first Twilight movie to the end of Breaking Dawn, her whole shtick is gonna be, make me like you, Edward. Make me like one of your blood-sucking girls in the chains.
And then Edward's like, no, I can't.
Well, and then he's like, then marry me.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
It's this
But then-
stupid back and forth all movie. Turn me into a vampire. No. Marry me, though. No. And it goes nowhere.
At the
And
beginning
so-
of the movie, when they're in the field and he's just like, marry me, marry me. The way he delivers
Yeah.
the line reminds me of Maybe from Arrested Development when she gets into Hollywood and is like a director. And she just goes, marry me to everyone.
So choose me. Pick me. Love me.
I will say though, at least Edward has a bit of a game plan. This movie, he's gonna take Bella, remind her of all the things that she loves, and
Which isn't much.
Yeah, it's nothing, actually.
It's her
just
mom. And that's it, kind of.
yeah. But I would like to talk about it because here's something that I don't know if you caught, but it plays out a little different than the book, and that they cut some things. So here's some context. When she's hanging out with the mom basically is saying, I think you're in a crazy, unhealthy relationship,
Yes.
and I would like you to cease all contact with Edward. But it's clear you're not going to, so I guess that's fine. Enjoy Alaska. But
I think she
Renee
also
almost
says,
had
though,
it.
I think she also says something like, but, like, you're clearly not going to, but just think about all the things, like, what did she say? I liked what she said, even though she wasn't pushing it too hard, and I felt like she should have.
yeah.
Whatever she said. But just be aware that the choices you make might stick with you for the rest of your life, basically.
Yeah. One thing she also says is she's like, when he moves, you move. And that was actually, like, the mom said a bit more in the book. Because here's the thing, we actually get to, like, see them spending a little bit of time together. And at this point, Edward and Bella are so in sync, and Bella is so cautious of... This is one thing, too, that they don't really address in it. But, like, you know, each movie kind of has a little bit of a make-out until Edward's like, stop.
Mm-hmm.
In the book, they spend a little bit of time, because originally, Bella just kind of goes ham. She's ready. And Edward's like, no. But then pretty much slowly after that, they find this groove where she's being cautious. More of his about, I guess, just like not making any sudden movements that might make her blood too tempting in the moment, kind of thing. So
I gotta
that
keep my
boils-
heart rate under 15 beats per minute.
She's got a Hannibal Lecter it or something. I guess.
If your blood pressure is 15 beats per minute, I think you need to go see a medical professional.
You need some chest compressions right away.
Yeah, you might be dying.
And Bella wasn't born normal. It's fine.
She's not like other girls.
Oh, gosh.
So-
Literally what she said at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So, but it gets to the point that like Renee is kind of like weirded out because it's like literally to like if Bella like reaches for a glass, she does it like really cautiously because like, you know, Edward's sitting right next to her and like they're really navigating around each other and like because of her blood being so tempting to him.
Can I
if
comment on that quickly?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, so pretend you're a mom, or maybe if you're listening to this, you are a mom. Probably not. But so imagine your teenage daughter is hanging out with her boyfriend or her partner, and you notice that she's very cautious in how she does things. Like she doesn't move too suddenly, she doesn't like do anything like too quickly. That seems bad because she's only doing it around her partner, and she's like, oh, like, did I do anything bad? How is your first thought not, what are they doing to you to make you feel this nervous? Like, you, as a mom, you have to be like, are you safe? Are you safe in this relationship? Do you need me to keep you here? And Renee's like, I see no problem with this.
Other than it might be unhealthy.
Yeah.
But not, like, dangerous, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you guys definitely picked up what I was putting down. So I just feel like if they had included that, it would give more cause for Renee to have these issues with Edward that she has.
Yes.
Renee
Especially
did say,
because...
Renee did say he looks like he's ready to jump in front of a bullet for you. And Bella says, is that a bad thing? And it's like, yeah, kind of.
Has
with
anyone...
how old you are and how
ever...
long you've known each other.
Has anyone ever said that to you and meant it?
What?
Because when I was 14, somebody did.
What?
Dude, is this a story for me? Okay, I'll try and make it go very, very quick. There was this boy in ninth grade who was like, made it very clear that he was enamored with me, and I was like, I'm not interested, thank you very much. And he's like, well, whatever. And then I started seeing, quote unquote, this boy in our grade. I think I talked about this in the last video where we just held hands, and I was like, my hands are sweaty, hee hee. But it was that boy. And then one night I got a fun little collection of text messages from this other boy, and he was like, oh my god, I'm so jealous of the guy you're seeing right now. I love you so much, I'd take a bullet for you. And I'm like, I'm 14. What? Pardon me, I have a math test tomorrow, can you stop? And then the next day he texted me again, and he was like, oh hey, I'm really sorry about all that. I will like hurt my body, and I was on a bunch of morphine. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. He's like, yeah, sorry if what I said last night freaked you out. And I'm like, no, it's fine. But then he says, just so you know, I meant every word of it. I'm like, what?
Well, check Carina lore off your bingo board link in bio.
I'm so sorry that every episode I'm in becomes my therapy session where I just unload my past trauma.
I mean, maybe that's something we can thank Twilight for.
Thanks,
in this case.
Twilight. I guess.
You unlocked some triggering moments in Karina's life.
We love it.
Oh.
Stay tuned for when we talk about something else.
What's next thing? Oh, one thing too in this, when the first time we casually mentioned how uncontrollable the New Bloods are, Emmett is like, yeah, something for you to look forward to. And like everyone starts talking about this insatiable thirst for blood, and we get to learn the backstories of Rosalie and Jasper. Rosalie's life is tragic and sad.
So
and
sad.
Stephanie Meyer felt that she has handled everything in her book so beautifully that she obviously had the tact and respect needed to toss this in.
And she sure didn't.
Because, like, here's the thing. Let's just really take this for what it is. Bella, in the books, okay, let me first talk about the movie. And then I'll talk about how Bella even managed this. Well, Stephanie Meyer managed this whole thing even worse than the movie.
Can I start real
Sure.
quick? The scene directly before this is that Jacob forces himself on Bella.
Mm-hmm.
Not like, a kiss.
He kisses her.
But still, non-consensually. She was pushing him away, tried to punch him, and broke her hand.
Yeah.
But
Oh, she sprained
like-
it, actually.
What a thing to
it's just a sprain.
Yeah. Can you sprain your hand by punching someone? Because a sprain is like when you like twist something really fast, like you can sprain your ankle. I don't know if you can sprain your entire hand.
I think you can.
You can't? Huh, okay. I stand corrected
Yeah.
then. I guess you can sprain your whole hand. But like punching something, can you?
But I just wanted to give that context because I thought that the order of things was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a throwaway scene, too. So, Rosalie, the reason, I don't really remember in the book how Carlisle stumbled upon her, but what happened was she was engaged to this guy who turned out not to be that great. She was walking home, happened to catch up with her beau, her betrothed, I don't know.
Were they?
And he was drunk in an alley
Yeah.
with his friends, and then they immediately make it a group thing, I'll say. Which
They do some
honestly sounds worse than the real term, but somehow that's YouTube friendly.
They do some very bad things to her.
And she's left for Carlisle to save. Okay, now you hear this, your friend, well, in the whole book, Bella has wanted to befriend Rosalie. Bella cannot understand why Rosalie can't stand her. And Rosalie explains, I don't like you because if I had it my way, I wouldn't be as I am. And you're taking your life for granted. Which, like, that's maybe, whether or not those are fair expectations to put on somebody, she feels how she feels. But, whatever. She wrote, a friend opens up to you.
Mm-hmm.
A friend confides this deeply personal story that changed her entire life forever. As a cautionary tale for you.
Yeah.
Bella's response is to immediately dismiss it.
Yes.
Man, well, I mean, yeesh, that's real tough for you, but, like, I'm good, and I'm gonna keep moving forward.
And
so,
she says, because
bye.
the start of this tragic story is that Rosalie says more than anything in the world, she wanted a baby.
Yeah.
And now that, among other things, are no more. So, Bella's response after she tells her this horrible, horrible story is, well, the only thing I want more than anything in the world is Edward, so I'll be fine.
Shut
and I'm like,
up,
oh
Bella.
my gosh.
God.
You are literally... This is what the definition of appropriating someone's culture is.
Like, oh my god. Hey
She's
Zach.
appropriating the vampire culture.
Hey,
by
Zach.
wanting to be turned.
Do you remember when I told you, like, some really deep, dark stuff about me, and then immediately afterwards you dismissed it? Cause I don't. Cause you don't do that to friends, or just anybody.
No, okay, so we have that. And Bella's just like, yeah, cool, peace. I'ma do me. Alright, Bella.
Be with Edward.
Nothing, literally nothing will get through to you, I guess. But here's something else that Stephanie Meyer felt was fun to add in the book. When we're doing Rosalie's backstory, we also talk about, and I do not remember what happened to Alice and Emmett, but I feel like they did talk about it in the book. Mm-hmm. Maybe. Whatever. But here's what I do remember. So Rosalie's talking about when she gets in. At this point, I believe Carlisle and Esme were... Edward and Esme were first, and then came Rosalie. And Rosalie talks about how when she first came, she was used to men always finding her attractive, and she found it odd that Edward didn't. Which, like... Why was that detail necessary at all?
I just don't get it. Why does Edward not like me? Oh, because Edward only likes Bella.
He's a one-woman vampire.
Yeah.
But also, like, but it's also weird too because of, like, literally the sequence of this story is tragic thing that happened to me. Carlisle saved me. Moving in was tough, but why doesn't Edward think I'm hot?
All, like, her entire, like, okay. Rosalie makes me particularly sad for a number of reasons, but one, like, the biggest reason is, like, the end of her life, like, all consent was taken away from her. Everything that happened to her prior to Carlisle showing up, and then Carlisle shows up and is like, do you know what you'd be great for? A mail-order bride for my vampire sons. You're coming with me. And she's like, I don't want this. I don't want any of this. I didn't want what happened to me beforehand. I don't want this now. And then Stephanie Meyer has the gall to boil that down to, she's so upset because Edward doesn't like her, and she's putting her fingers together. I'm like, shut up, Stephanie Meyer. You are absolutely disgusting for taking this angle on this awful, horrible, life-changing topic. Bad, very bad, and not good.
We can just leave that there. Let's talk about how Jasper's a Confederate soldier.
Yeah, gross. Confederates?
Okay. Jasper should not be monologuing ever because his accent is so inconsistent. It changed mid-sentence.
So
well,
bad.
ma'am, in the army, in the Texan cavalry, I went to the
And then it was
store.
gone the rest of the movie.
I, like, he monologues, and he's got a Texan accent, which, by the way, that's not what a Texas accent sounds like. I would know. And then, like...
Was it supposed to be Texan?
Yeah.
I thought it was just South.
He's a Texas Confederate soldier. And he sounds not Texan.
He sounds like he's from, like, Georgia.
Yeah. Like, my name's Soldier Jasper. I'm here to help you out, ma'am. And he tips his little hat. I'm like, where are you from? Buddy.
Yeah.
Also, why is
like,
he a Confederate? Disgusting. Not in this house.
I guess here's the thing too that's a little weird though. Because like, you know, Jasper talks, like, they all sort of talk about, like, regretting their life, but here's something. Now, I'm not saying that this trash book is the place for any sort of political discourse, but we're all talking about things we regret. And I can't help but think about the fact that if you're a vampire, and before you were a vampire, you served in, like, the Civil War, and you were on the side that was kind of pro-slavery, and now you've lived all this time, you've seen quite a lot of free black people. And I think maybe you might have some feelings. He doesn't have to be a racist, is what I'm saying. But maybe we can clarify that he learned and grew over the years.
Well, you see, there's no need to, because Stephenie Meyer didn't want any people of color in her film. So that would...
Except for the bad ones.
Yeah, except for the bad ones. So then she'd be like, see, Jasper's totally... totally, like, fine for him to be a Confederate.
Else that I noticed in the movie. Somehow this ex-Confederate soldier is the most racially sensitive of the group of colors.
He's a changed man.
But here's why I say that. Yeah. So Alice and Edward, man, they fling out those dog and mutt slurs like nobody's business.
So much.
But at one point, so here's the plan. Because, Bella's blood brings all the vamps to the yard.
What blood type do we think she is? What's the most boring blood type?
Oh, boring?
Yeah, because
I was saying because it was the most special.
Yeah, but, like, she's okay, I feel like Bella thinks that she has O blood type, but she probably has, like, A.
Let's look it up.
What's the most
common blood type?
I was gonna put most basic blood.
Most alkaline blood type.
AB negative and O negative positive. Oh wait, no. Rarest is AB negative. Most common is O positive. So
I was right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So the joke is gone then. I was gonna say B negative because that's what she is.
You know what's something weird? Okay, wait, Carina. Do you know what your blood type is?
Yes, I am B positive.
Rogue, do you know what your blood type is?
No.
The only reason I know is because I have to get blood work done frequently because my blood doesn't work.
Oh.
I'm anemic.
Well, that's
and I also
sad.
have an underactive thyroid. Getting into health problems now. Welcome to Deep Dish, everyone.
Well, no, I mean, not to... I really thought it was a Canadian thing. And the reason why is because on an episode of Degrassi, which, like, I will cover with Aaron in more detail later. But
Card in the corner.
To combat racism, they get a bunch of girls together and then they say, hey, if you're this blood type, go to this side. If you're that blood type, go over here.
And everybody just knows?
Yeah! And I was thinking...
I don't know a lot of people that know their blood type.
They should have done eye color.
Yeah. Like, oh, who's that theorist who did the eye color thing?
You know,
she's
honestly, though,
real
Degrassi... I will say, though, Degrassi has a lot of brown eyes. I don't think that would help curb racism.
They're like, brown only.
That's because blue eyes are a mutation.
Yeah. We'll get Yella in to talk about the science of it.
Okay, so the plan is we're going to use Bella's blood to lure the army over here. But then we need to get Bella safely away to a secure location so that she won't be in harm's way. But if Edward carries her, then her scent will still linger. But if Jacob carries her, because of his mutt
breath.
odor and stench,
she's stanky.
then she'll be fine, and they won't smell anything but him. And Edward is immediately like, but your rotten whatever stench.
Hold on. I have a problem with you using this example for Jasper being the most racially sensitive. Because I think more than that, he's the most, I don't know what word to use.
Complicit?
He respects the truce the most and is like, they don't bother us, so we're not gonna bother. Because as soon as Jacob leaves, he was like, so now his stench will cover it up. Like, he
respects the treaty, but not the people who made it.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's great. I mean, all the Cullens are real racist because I noticed that they have Carlisle. Because, okay, I'm going to get into Carlisle. I think he's the most racist, and we'll talk about that in a second. But all I'm saying is, at least, because here's the thing. You know, there's something to be said. Some people are of the mindset, like, if you're going to be racist to my face. Then, okay, you got Edward and Alistair. But some people are like, you know what? Maybe you could just be polite and keep your comments to yourself because I don't want to hear it. And that's where Jasper falls. Which, like, still not great, but at least he's polite. Mm-hmm. So not racially sensitive, but at least he's polite.
Oh my god, he's Canadian.
That's why he's so polite.
Yeah, but then, like, as soon as the indigenous people leave, he's like, oh, thank god they're gone. Gross. Because Canada is racist.
You know what's something weird, too, though? In, like, the books, Jasper and Emmett really do kind of befriend, Seth and Paul, I want to say. I don't know, they kind of have, like, a bit of a bromance. Also, I will say, during that, like, fight montage we get, I low-key, high-key ship Jasper and Emmett.
Oh, yeah,
because
absolutely.
In that
one scene.
Because it was like, come on, bring it on. And then he's like, oh, you know, I always bring it to the table.
Like, oh, what's going on here, boys?
He says, don't hold back. And then Emmett says, it's not in my nature.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they said.
Well,
yeah, I was like, things are getting a little
right.
spicy in the kitchen over here.
Let's find Jasper Emmett fanfiction and read that.
It's out there for sure.
We gotta find it, lady.
Definitely.
So about this training montage that they have, it was interesting. First of all, the fight choreography is terrible. Yeah. I hate it. Doesn't make any sense, but okay.
Also, I don't feel like the werewolves learned anything.
I was gonna say, Jasper is like training them and giving them all these pro tips, and then the only thing that comes back from this sequence, normally you have the training montage because it's going to be called back to later because you learn something and then you can turn it around on your opponents when it's the big fight.
Yeah.
The only thing that came back was that the newborns, don't let them get their arms around you because they'll crush you instantly. And that came back and it happened. And I'm like, okay,
is this a
that was a terrible...
gun?
Why did we have that training montage?
Because it looks
I call
cool.
it a montage. It wasn't really a montage.
Because filler, because we need it to be 2 hours long.
They're like, guys,
but
this
like,
movie needs to be
one thing I will say, like, let's go back to, which, like, not like we need to, like, reach for these examples, but, like, let's go back to Edward being a real salty racist, because Carlisle is like, so we have these people here, and you're the only person who, he was like a begrudging interpreter. We have a language barrier. And Edward was like, they don't trust us. They have to stay in their...
Stinky
they
dog
don't trust us
form.
enough to be in their human forms. Why would they? You're racist as all get out!
You call them dogs when they are in their human
Literally.
forms, so they might as well just be their dog
They're
form.
like, you gonna call me a dog? Woof. Hello.
Yeah.
Now you don't get to hear us barking and talking smack about you.
Now, I think we could close off with the love triangle nonsense, but here's why I think Carlisle is a racist. Let's talk about second-rate health care
Oh my God,
for
yeah.
this injured werewolf who, so Jacob thinks that Bella's in danger and one of his other pack members is getting into like a fight and he steps in, but he ends up getting seriously injured. The right half of his body is broken.
The newborn got his arms around him and squeezed him.
They gave him too big of a hug. And he fails his strength saving throw.
So
Hate when that
here's
happens.
something. Carlisle says, okay, we need to get him back fast so I can reset it before he starts to automatically heal or whatever.
It's already starting, yeah.
And then he decides, oh wait, the Volturi are here, let me kick it so I can say hi.
Hey, what's
Carlisle, you need to zip zap zoop Jacob to the reservation or whatever you need to do. But also, no, because if there is somebody dangerous, because they're like, the Volturi won't respect a treaty. Okay, but like, Carlisle, you're strong and fast right now, so pick Jacob up and zip zap zoop to his home. Then afterwards, but I think he just wanted to break Jacob's bones again, so he re-breaks all his bones.
What was the point of that?
Because he had to reset them because they healed wrong.
Like,
Yeah.
how?
But then, which also, by the way, body horror. Can we see it? You want it to be spooky? Let's see it. But anyway, then he's like, okay, I gave him some morphine, but his body's gonna wear that off quick. I'll be back with a drip. And then he moseys on out of frame.
He leaves
Carlisle,
him by himself.
zip, zap, zoop to your home.
Like,
what
you
are
have
you doing?
vampire speed. Why aren't you using it right now?
I don't think that's because of racism. I think that's because
He's
of
just an
lack
idiot.
of... I think that's actually on Stephanie Meyer.
So Stephanie
I
Meyer's the
think
racist.
I mean, she wrote the book, everybody's at least a little bit hurt.
Yeah.
So...
Especially Bella.
Yeah.
So, okay, now let's wrap this up
Alright.
with this nonsense
Okay.
triangle.
I do, before we get into the love triangle, I want to say something real quick. A bunch of this movie, so the last movie, New Moon, focused on, oh no, the age gap, age, mortality,
Oh,
whatever. And nothing really got resolved until the last 10 minutes, and then it still wasn't even resolved.
Yeah.
This movie, Bella's hang-up is the marriage, because as Carina mentioned, or was it? Oh, people... If I get married at my age, people are going to think I got knocked up, which...
And then Jessica in the next movie
No.
literally says, do you think Bella's going to be showing? Hee hee.
But, I guess what they were trying to do, she has her reservations about the marriage, and she brings up all these reasons. Oh, it's just a piece of paper. I'm like, wow, Bella, you're so woke.
Oh my god, 21st century girl.
But what they were trying to do is her parents are divorced, so she lost her faith in marriage. But that didn't come up, like, until right before she finally said yes to Edward.
Mm-hmm.
She was
It
talking
came
to
up when she was
Charlie.
talking to Charlie, yeah. And then she was like, don't you, like, have you lost your faith in marriage? Do you think it's worth it? And he was basically just like, yeah, if you find the right person. And she was like,
When you're older, because you're 18 right now.
But, I don't know, I really disliked the way it was handled, because up until that point, it just seemed like she, I don't know, just had, I'm not like other girls about
Yeah.
marriage, I guess.
Because
But
we...
really
Yeah, it
shallow.
was-
Yeah. Because we
Because
talked...
it's fine, I don't...
Yeah, I'm not like other girls.
I don't
wanna get
care.
married.
Like, to each their own. If you don't want to get married, fine. Have your common law marriage.
Yeah.
I don't, like, I'm not disparaging that. It's just her arguments and
Are so dumb.
they were just so flimsy and didn't seem like, and the reason it didn't seem like that was part of her character of, like, not liking marriage for whatever reason as a whole and not wanting to be married and just being with someone without that.
Yeah.
Is because they were trying to do the thing about, like, oh, my parents are divorced, so I don't like marriage. But they didn't do
Yeah,
it well enough.
No, not at all. Because, like, even... It's also weird, too, because, like, even with, you know... Charlie brings up, like, yeah, your mom got remarried, she found the right guy.
Got it
And,
right
like,
the second
if
time
this-
around. Because she's older and
Yeah.
knows better.
He's kind of still salty
Yeah.
about that, though, but we'll just leave that at
That's
the door.
fine. He gets with Sue Clearwater.
Yeah.
And she's a real baddie. He picked a real good one.
Mm-hmm. But I guess what I think I will say is that I feel like the problems they have, like, I guess before we get into, before we bring Jacob into this, Edward lies to Bella the whole movie.
Yeah.
It starts off with, like, so Emmett and, was it Seth or Paul, who got into a fight, and Jacob is like, you didn't tell her? And then Bella's like, what? And then at the end of the movie, now, Bella is like, okay, you guys are all risking your life. Now, I'm not defending Bella. I think she does some nonsense. But in this case, her thinking is sound, I'll say. She's like, look, you guys are all risking your lives to fight this newborn army that is like, you guys, the only advice Jasper gave was like, do not let your guard down for a second. You need to be at your A game because they're going to be better and ruthless or whatever nonsense. So fine. Bella knows that both Edward and Jacob are super ridiculous and testosterone-addled when it comes to her. So she's like, look, I agreed to marry you. We don't need to tell Jacob today.
Tell him later.
We can wait till after the big thing. And then Bella's like, you knew he was listening because you can read minds. I'm not an idiot. Leave me alone. And to me, that seems like, okay, so they're going to be fighting till the end of the movie? Oh, wait, no, we're
fine now? Okay.
Well.
And he wasn't even upset. Like, she said that, and then she runs after Jacob, and she's trying to get him to stay because it's dangerous, and I don't want to lose you. And then he's like, no, whatever, you don't care about me, you just care about him. It's like, okay, yeah. And then she says, kiss me, because that's the only way she can get him to stay.
Yeah, because that's how you talk to your friends.
Yeah, that's platonic. It's a platonic makeout session.
Hey, Rogue.
Yeah.
Kiss me.
Marry me.
Credits. That's the worst way to end a movie. Marry me. Credits.
But I do like that Stephanie Meyer thinks that that's so salacious. That's something to end on.
Like, oh my god. This movie sucks.
Anyway.
So right.
She kisses and then comes back. Now, Edward had just lied to her and then goes off and kisses Jacob, Edward's fine with it. He's like,
okay.
Jacob's thoughts are pretty loud.
What?
Like, okay.
What?
Well,
what was he thinking?
Okay, so, like, but then so Edward's been lying to her the whole movie. But also there's this other side where throughout all of it, in all of Bella's relationships, if we're going to consider what she has with Jacob a romantic relationship, since that's what he says it is, in both of these relationships, Bella has made a decision. I'm going to do this. Guys are like, I love you so much. I just would like you to make a concession here or there. And she's like, no, I'm Bella.
I'm a girl boss, except I'm not.
I don't do anything.
So oh my gosh, boring. She gaslights Jacob again in this movie.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
We're in to help fight these newborns. And she immediately says, you don't know what you're getting yourself into. I'm like, we've been over this. He fought the other vampires last movie. Mm-hmm. You were just at his council meeting talking about their history, about how they've always fought vampires. I think he knows what he's getting himself into.
He's ready for this.
Can we talk about the minor cultural appropriation with that tale that Bella decided to recreate?
Like, listen, there's nothing wrong with going to Indigenous events if you're non-Indigenous. That's totally fine. It's best if you get invited to it, though, and if you're going to go, bring something with you, because it's likely that this event is being hosted on their land, and so as a sign of, respect and friendship, you bring something with you. Like, hey, I brought, some smudge, or I brought, some stuff that you need. Or, I brought some food for the potluck. You do something nice. You're like, here you go. And they're like, here you go.
To Bella's credit, Jacob just said, we're going to a party.
Yeah.
So she was completely caught off guard.
But then
and then she didn't want to go.
But then, so they're approaching a campfire. and he's like, oh, it's a council meeting. And she's like, oh my god, I wish I knew that I would have dressed better. Bella, we're outside in the middle of the night.
Jacob's wearing the exact same thing you are.
You should have brought a blanket so you could get cozy around the campfire. What were you gonna wear? A little black dress and shoes?
A prom dress.
Her prom dress with her calf-high leggings and her grandma cardigan.
It's a cocktail council.
Yeah,
meeting.
because that's what they do. All right,
But
lady.
But here's the issue that I took. So while they're sitting down, Billy explains the story about their beef with the cold ones. So when there was like this powerful werewolf guy, his son died. He was the last standing guy, and his, I want to say, lover, wife,
His third wife. I was a little confused by that. I was like, okay, is this like his third wife as in like the first two wives died or like the marriage didn't work out? Or is this like third wife as in it's a polygamy situation?
Which, like, I don't know why they threw that in, but, fine. It's, I mean, I don't even really...
Like, if it is a polygamy situation, show the other two wives.
Like, just clarify. But at the same time, I don't remember. But the point is, this woman...
Stephanie Meyer didn't care.
Yeah, she did. She just threw it in because, like, Native Americans have multiple wives or something.
Because
they fall in love with babies. That's one thing, though, that I don't really remember New Moon getting. Did they get into detail about that, or was that just the books where they talk about that, like, that one guy imprinted on a baby?
And then Jacob does that later.
No, they didn't. They didn't talk about that in the movie, because I would have remembered, because when they mentioned imprinting this time in this movie, I was like, I still don't understand how imprinting works.
Because in the book, there's like this guy, and it's so weird because they explain it, but that's weird too, because in Breaking Dawn, I specifically remember Jake, well, we'll get there.
When we get there.
Get there. We don't need to waste our breath
Question,
on
though.
that.
Do wolves, like the animal, not the werewolves, do wolves imprint on each other?
I don't think so.
Because do you know what animals do imprint? Baby ducks. Baby
I was going to say it's their mother.
Baby waterfowl. Like that. What? Stephanie Meyer, what are you doing? Ma'am.
She just needed to come up with some new lore.
She's like,
imprinting. Speaking of lore, I was thinking about it today before I even started watching the movie. Why are these movies centered around, like, nighttime and night-themed when most of them take place during the day? Or they take place mostly during the day, I should say.
I cannot
and
remember
also, the moons have no effect on either of these nighttime creatures in her movies.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with their lore.
I don't remember what the other ones are, and I feel like she only really had a plan with Twilight, but there's some quote... Belle, I believe something about how beautiful Edward is, and like how he's like half alive, half dead, or whatever, reminds her of the beauty in the Twilight. And I believe after that, each book has a title drop. Yeah. So there. I could be wrong. Feel free to correct me in the comments, but I believe that is why.
Well, let's break it down, because like the title of the books or the movies kind of makes sense thematically. Like, if we're looking at New Moon, for example, it's partly about Jacob's coming of age, I guess, in becoming a werewolf, and werewolves are associated with moons. New Moon. Okay, that makes sense. Eclipse. We've got Edward and Jacob, and they're, like, really going at it at Eclipse. It's the moon and the sun, and they, like, go in front of each other. Okay, that makes sense. Breaking Dawn, I guess Bella becomes a vampire, and you're like, oh, it's a new day. It's a new life for Bella.
What about Twilight?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're putting more thought into the titles than Stephanie Meyer.
Yeah, she was just like, it sounds
sure.
cool. Hee hee.
Vampires, nighttime.
Vampires, hee hee. But, like, I don't know.
I will say the font of the book covers and the movies is very vampire aesthetic.
Okay,
yeah.
An apple... I don't have my New Moon book, so I can't see what the cover is. Eclipse is a ribbon. Breaking Dawn's
Isn't
a
one
chess
of them
piece.
like a rose petal?
I think maybe that's New Moon.
Oh,
Yeah.
I typed in New Moon and I just got like lunar pictures.
Just the moon. Man, and
Let's
then a
see.
pomegranate for whatever the Edward book is.
Blood. It has blood in the title, right?
Is it? What is it?
Remember.
It's like, isn't it
Oh, yeah,
like
it's-
Everlasting Moon or something?
Oh, okay. Wait, we got way off track. But here's
Welcome
why
to
I
Deep
brought
Dish
up.
Zach.
Mark that off
Here's
your
why-
binge watching.
Here's why I brought up that tale. Okay, so she ends herself, and so she could draw blood to distract the cold ones, and that helps the werewolf win the fight.
How did she do
Then-
that? She had like a rock and cut herself.
Well, no, it was like a dagger. She like just. She
Oh,
put it
yeah,
in her
no.
belly.
I'm thinking about a scene that happens later.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, okay, because
Yeah.
that's true. I don't know how she did that because we're about to get there. But then Bella takes this same story as inspiration, and does the same thing. But like one thing that would make, and I think that's fine, foreshadowing or whatever. At the same time, though, Billy goes on about how important this woman is to their culture. She's like
She
revered. She's
Sacrificed
like part of
herself. It wasn't just like a little cut. She like stabbed herself
Yeah.
in the stomach.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a big sacrifice. Like they owe the tribe they are today to this woman. Like he goes on and on about
She
her
doesn't even get a
praises.
name though. It's like, oh, like our entire existence today is all dedicated to this woman. What's her name? Tama Aki's third wife. Like,
then
come on.
Bella does-
She's a woman. It doesn't matter what her name is.
But then Bella does the same thing, and I can't help but feel like we're trying to say that her and this woman are on the same level, and I don't like that.
Yeah, I felt that too.
It gave me the same vibe as like when people were like, oh, my grandmother was like an Indian princess. I'm like, gross. No, she wasn't. You're from New England. You're from New England, and your family came from Old England.
So okay, now let's bring Jacob into the mix. Now
poor
this
Jacob.
whole movie, he's been like, Bella, I know you have feelings for me.
I want to talk
here's-
about the scene where right before he kisses her without asking, or without her showing any nonverbal cues that she wants him
Yeah.
to kiss her.
The absence of a
Which-
yes
yeah.
is a no. Remember that, everyone.
Yeah. The reason I want to talk about this scene is because he lists all of the reasons why she should be with him and why she loves him. She actually does love him,
Listen,
even though
Bella.
she's saying she doesn't.
Bella, he wears short skirts. I wear t-shirts. He's cheer captain, but I'm on the bleachers.
You know what's weird too? I think, so he lists all this, and also I gotta say, low-key, I love how openly Charlie ships
Yeah.
them.
I know.
We need to talk about Charlie
Yes.
before we finish the video, because Charlie in this one particularly, it makes me very, very emotional.
I just, when I started it, he was like, I wrote down, I was like, oh my gosh, Bella, I just yelled, shut up, Bella, at my TV. Oh wait, Charlie made it okay. He's on the screen now.
It's fine,
Because-
Charlie's here.
Yeah, Charlie.
Just him,
Charlie.
at Bella's graduation, when, she walks across the stage, and he stands up, and he's clapping, and his eyes are teary. I'm like, I could start crying right now.
I was looking at him, and I was like,
Charlie.
you guys can say whatever you want about this movie, but that man loves his
Yeah.
awful daughter.
The scene where he's looking at the missing poster of the son that went missing a year ago, and Bella comes up and he says, oh, his family is papering these all over Seattle, and she says, I think they should just give up.
Bella.
And I was like, Bella, you are the worst.
You are literally the worst person to walk the earth. Why are you our main character? And
then
why should we care about anything that happens to you?
Charlie still says, I wouldn't if it were you.
God, Charlie.
He's so good. He's such a good boy.
He's such a nice man.
So it's also weird too because, you know, like, this is the problem with love triangles. Because it's weird because it's not really a love triangle because the decision is always made beforehand. Like, she wasn't torn. She knew it was going to be Edward. She just kept leading Jacob along because she needs him. He's her security blanket and later on her literal blanket.
She keeps stringing him along. And because he's like, I really like you and I, like, want to be with you. And Bella's like, okay.
It's weird too, yeah, because, like, she feels like she's made it clear. And I'm not saying that she asked him to kiss her. That was clearly, he was forcing it because I think, but then at the same, I'm not really that sympathetic because I think it's a bad move and I don't think you should try it. But in this universe, and I do feel like we're supposed to sympathize with Jacob. He says, I know you love me. And he's like, I just need to prove it to you. So if I just kiss you, you'll just know that we're in love.
So that goes into what I wanted to talk about when he was listing all the reasons, like, you won't have to leave your family or anyone you love when you're with me. You don't have to give up your life. We can live together happily without you having to turn into something that you're not.
You don't have to change anything about yourself to be with me.
Those are all great points, but the fact that you have to list those out for somebody and try to convince them to love you, that means they're not the one.
Yeah, if you ever
shouldn't have to work that hard.
If you ever have to make a PowerPoint presentation as to why you should date me, it's not gonna work out. I'm sorry.
But at the same time, though, like, I feel like I think Jacob needs to move on. At the same time,
he did with the baby.
But here's the thing. You know, if your friend is in trouble and, you know, she's in this awful, dangerous, toxic relationship, he's younger than her. He's barely 17. Now, granted, she's 18. But they're both dumb kids. But he's still younger.
Young and sweet.
But he's in all the movies, he's doing what his dumb teenage werewolf boy brain thinks is right. And he thinks Bella's in trouble. She needs me to help her. So I'm going to help her. Lose this dangerous zero. Get with me, the literal hero. Yeah. And it doesn't work out for him. But can we talk about how, like, low-key adorable I found it when Bella's mad, they're charging home, Edward's like, you lay a hand on her again without her consent, I'm gonna, and they're, like, growling at each other, and Charlie comes like, whoa, boys, like,
what's going on
break
here?
This up.
Charlie is the best mediator.
Yeah. From now on, I'm Switzerland. Bella, like, get the hell out of here.
You've always been Switzerland. Yeah. You're just playing both sides.
You're such an enabler, Bella. You are absolutely useless. You should lose moderator privileges. Get out of this server. Don't make me get the admins.
And Charlie being a good, you know, he's being very good.
Yeah. He's the admin.
At the same time, though, he's a little biased because what Jacob said. This is one thing that didn't really play in the movie like it did in the book. At least that's not how I read it in the book. But there was, like, a little bit of, like, when Jacob's like, yeah, she kissed me. Then she tried to punch me and she broke her hand. And then Charlie's a little bit like, she broke her hand?
What happened?
Like, why is my kid so lame? But okay. Like,
why is my kid so lame?
Man, I love her to death.
God, Bella, you're such a wet noodle. You soggy piece of paper towel.
I will say, you know, for a long time, I didn't think that I shipped Jacob and Edward. But seeing the scene in the tent in this movie, I definitely ship him a little
I'm
bit.
way hotter than you.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not?
Do you think the directors,
Also,
told them, they're like, okay, alright guys, now when you're going into this scene, I want you to imagine that Bella's just your beard, okay? Alright, and take one, and action. I'm way hotter than you.
Like, if you... yeah, when he says that, and then when Edward's like, who weren't natural enemies, which, by the way, still a little racist, but okay. Well, whatever. We'll ignore that little comment. And then he's like, I think we could actually like each other. But then when Jacob is like, I think I could, nah, not even then. And then Edward gets this little...
Go ahead.
Oh, then Edward gets this little smile. And I'm like, you never look at Bella like that, so I don't know what to tell you, my friend.
Even when Jacob says, if she does pick me, are you gonna kill me? And Edward's like, no. I was like, oh. Aw.
Let's talk about, because y'all said something. Bella, Edward doesn't look at Bella that way. Yeah, at no point in the movie, in any of the movies, is he looking at her, and you're just like, yes, this is pure love. He's just,
he never smiles at her.
He's just there. He just looks like a plank of wood, just there.
Just plank.
Just there.
And the same, I don't know if, what I will say though, because from what I've read, Robert Pattinson hates Edward Cullen.
I think
it definitely seems to be the team.
We talked about this in the Endless Love video, Card in the Corner.
But what I will also say, I think that this is something that I don't think people give Taylor Lautner enough credit, because I think he's just really good at drawing some warmth out of people. Because the only time Bella has any personality is when she's with Jacob. The only time Edward has any personality is when he's with Jacob. I feel like Taylor Lautner was just like, look guys, I know none of us want to be here.
We know that.
But I'm gonna make you smile.
I have to say, I think I forgot to bring this up in New Moon, but every time Jacob smiles and starts laughing during his dialogue, it looks like Taylor Lautner is just breaking character. He can't help but start laughing a little bit.
The director's
and I love it. I love it every
They're
time.
Like, Taylor, come on. And he's like, I'm sorry, just the lines you're making me read are so garbage. I have to laugh. And they're like,
I just have to giggle.
They're like, Taylor, enough, okay? This is the third take. Come on. We don't care all that much about quality. Just say your lines. And he's like, okay. All right, in action. Yeah, funny. They're like, forget it. All right, well, that's a wrap for today.
This is just part of your character
now.
now.
You're just a giggly happy boy.
I think we did it, guys. I think we talked about Twilight Eclipse.
Thank goodness.
You can't say we did it when we still have 2 more movies to watch.
We can't say. Hey, we did it. No.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Fun fact, I forgot I had to rewatch Eclipse today till earlier this afternoon, and I was so sad.
Our day was going fine, and then at some point we all realized, we have to watch it.
Oof.
Damn it.
Yeah, so
what are we going to watch after this to cleanse our palate, everybody?
Leave your suggestions in the comments.
Ooh, yeah, do that. We need more requests.
There's the video request channel, I think. Yeah, video recommendations.
We have that. Yes. And I guess that's it. Thank you guys for hanging out and dealing with this garbage. Thank you guys for listening, and remember to comment, like, and subscribe, because we all need friends.
Bye.
Bye.